All right. We are live on YouTube and LinkedIn. It looks like there was an error starting on Instagram, so I'm just going to pull it up over here. Hold, please. If you are tuning in live, I'd love to know where you're watching from. Drop it in the chat. And I'm going to get this Instagram set up as well. If you know me at all, you know I like to go live on multiple platforms at once because it is efficient and it allows you to be in multiple places at once. So let me go ahead and pull up this live. Hang tight. During controversial times. All right, here we go. Hello, friend. I am dropping my phone while on a live video. Super professional. That's okay. We show up real around here, right? All right, so today we are talking about an interesting and pretty highly sensitive topic. I want to talk to you about showing up on social media during controversial or politically charged times. Like I said, I am live on LinkedIn, YouTube, and also Instagram. So, showing up on social media right now is feeling quite hard to a lot of people, and it can feel like a shock to your nervous system, even just going on and scrolling and consuming, let alone posting. There's a lot of people, business owners specifically, wondering, should I be speaking up? Is it safe to be speaking up? So I really want to bring this conversation into a space where it's a little more neutral and it's not quite so emotionally charged. I want to look at things strategically with you while also bringing heart into it. So, because emotions are very high right now for a lot of people, and this is very valid. It makes sense with the current state of the world, the political climate, all of the things. It makes sense that scrolling on social media today is extremely overstimulating. And you might be asking the questions, should I post about what's going on in Minneapolis and across the country right now? What will people think about me if I do? What will they think if I don't? Is it okay for me to be selling right now? So I do want to talk about it in a way that is very factual and strategic, while also empowering you to lead with your heart. And my hope for you is that this conversation will help ease your nervous system in this world that we're all existing in today, so that you can move back into your strategic decision-making brain for your business, because it's very easy to get caught up in the emotional side of things, especially when it comes to social media. So let's get into this conversation. By the way, I'm Shauna Yurko. I am a video producer, a marketing strategist, and video coach. And I've been in the marketing and video production world for about 15 or more years now. And I work with clients who want to elevate their visibility online with video. And this conversation is coming up with a lot of my clients right now. So I figured a lot of you might be asking the same things. So here's what we're going to cover in this call. Or not call. I feel like I'm on Zoom with you right now. Here's what we're covering in this episode, if you will. Should you speak about politics on your social media platforms? As a business owner specifically, should you speak about politics on all of your social media platforms? Like, if you should, where should you be posting about it? And should you continue to sell during this time? So let's dive into the very first one. By the way, if you have questions throughout this whole entire thing, please drop them in the chat. I will review them at the end. I do have a couple of questions that came in ahead of time that I'll be answering at the end of this live stream. So, and I also review these questions, like whether you're watching live or on the replay, I review my questions that anyone asks after the fact as well. So if you have questions, drop them in the chat, in the comments, and I'll answer them on a future live stream if you're watching on the replay, or I will answer them at the end of this as well. So, first things first, as a business owner, should you speak about politics? No matter what side you're on. We're not just talking to any one side right now. So I want to start this out by bringing the power back to you. You don't owe anyone your opinion. You do not owe anyone your personal beliefs. You do not owe that to anyone. That is a choice that you get to make. So I want you to take back your power there. Don't feel pressured. Bring back the power into your internal being. It is your choice to make, whether you decide to or not. Okay? So take back that power. And when you are making that decision, first and foremost, you need to evaluate your safety, physical and mental. Okay? So when you are thinking of speaking up, if doing so will endanger you or your family or someone you know and love, my answer to you is no, do not speak up. I know that there's a lot of people right now who are living in fear and who are desperately wanting to speak up, but they cannot. So if that is you, cut yourself some slack. Don't feel pressured to speak up. Allow yourself to regulate your nervous system and show up for yourself and your family in the ways that you need to. Okay? So keeping safety in mind. There's also an aspect of, will speaking up be harmful to your mental health? Or is it better for you to focus on your internal circles and making an impact in your local community versus showing up on social media? You need to evaluate your physical and mental safety first and foremost. That is imperative. Okay? So with that caveat, I do think that if your safety is not in question, it is important to speak up during these times as a business owner, because people care more now than ever about the values of the brands that they work with and that they pay and that they give their money to. So here are some ways that you could maybe go about it for different business owners. I want to give some examples. If it directly pertains to your business, it totally makes sense. For example, a publicist. She might talk about what's going on and how companies should handle the current situation. That is a way that you can show up on social media for your business and act as commentary on the current climate. It's what I'm doing right now because this is a useful conversation, and it is one that it's a question that a lot of people are asking, and my expertise lends to this. So why wouldn't I share it? So start thinking about content on social media through that lens. If you are speaking about politics, will it be useful to your ideal customers, to the people who you show up to empower and to inspire? Another example, maybe a social worker would have really valuable commentary on what's going on. An influencer, if you're an influencer and you're like, I desperately want to make content, but I don't want it to be like ragey, maybe you post your Get Ready With Me content and say, these are brands who are supporting what I believe in right now. And that is a way that you continue to make your content, but still can make it political and a point of activism, if you will. Maybe you even say, these are brands I'm no longer working with because they support this federal institution, etc. So if you choose, those are a couple of examples. There's also the aspect of sharing information from credible sources. I can't stress this enough. So if you're not necessarily posting on your feed on Instagram or LinkedIn about the current political global climate, then maybe it's something where you are sharing resources for how people can make a difference. That is a great way of showing up on social media and adding to the rhetoric in a way that's useful. So if you do choose to speak up, I encourage you to look at the situation ethically before doing so. So here's something that I would always recommend to my clients, to anyone who is going to post about something on social media that feels sticky for them or maybe feels like it could be controversial. First and foremost, we evaluate safety. Second, is this emotionally charged? And if it is, have I processed this emotion yet? If not, don't post yet. You need to process your emotions before you post on social media. I can't stress this enough. processing your emotions through social media is how we get these like spirals of anger and rage that don't necessarily make a huge impact. Yes, I think rage can be a very powerful moving force. However, I think it is most powerful when you process your rage and turn it into action that is useful, not in a way that's going to incite terror or like fear or just a community not uplifting the community. This doesn't mean toxic positivity. It means moving forward with positive forward movement. Okay? So process your emotions, your grief, your rage, your frustration, your any of the feelings. Have a safe place to process those that is not social media, because social media is a tool. It is not a way to only express emotions and then it like fixes how you feel. It would probably make it worse if you do not have a safe place to process those emotions offline. Okay? And if you are really being strategic about it for your business, for your life, for yourself, you really want to process those emotions away from the screens. Okay? Away from your little keyboard. Also, I want you, hang on, there's like something floating back here and I don't know what it is. Okay, cool. Sorry, that's the joy of being here with me live. You get my ADHD moments as well. So we've talked about looking at the situation ethically, processing your emotions. Another point of ethics here, posting should be action-oriented or to spread truthful information. Check your source. Do not post things that are from an unreliable source. This is so important in this day and age, okay? Look at it and say, is this truth or is this propaganda? Use the situation as a lens. Will this post that I'm sharing to my story empower, or will it instill fear and chaos? Will it give people actual things that they can help with, or will it just create more fear and helplessness? The goal right now is to come together as a collective community, and we can make a big difference as business owners. And I think, like I said, people are watching. People are watching what your values are, and they're watching what you stand for, and they're watching what you do and don't post. And if you do choose to stay completely silent during this time, your silence could be misunderstood as compliance or being okay with everything that's going on. And again, I want to reiterate, if you are staying silent for safety reasons, mental or physical, that is okay. You are valid. And what you're going to need to do is to get okay with this fact that there might be judgment. This is something I work on with my clients all the time. Like, people are going to judge you no matter what you post. They're going to judge you whether you post or don't post. And you have to get okay with that. It just is the nature of the beast of social media. You got to get okay with it, find tools and resources and ways to support yourself and your nervous system to be okay with that judgment. And for anyone watching this, I would encourage you to quit asking immigrants to speak up right now. Just don't do it. It's rude. They shouldn't be people who are endangering themselves to make a difference right now. So there's my one moment of please be kind to everyone who is handling social media right now, because ultimately everyone is just doing our best. And whether there's disagreements in points of view or not, it's always important to put people first. Okay? Use your platform to empower. Don't use it to instill fear and chaos. And remember, focus on sharing truth, not propaganda. There's also ways, if you feel like you can't participate in any sort of activism or posting online, you don't feel safe doing so, but you're like, I desperately want to participate and do something. Focus on your local community. Focus on conversations you have. Tomorrow there's a nationwide strike. happening, and there might be some people who can't afford to take a day off. There might be some people who don't have childcare. They can't afford to not send their kid to school. Like, it's okay if you're not participating in that, but if you can, do it. There's other small micro ways to participate. Call your senator. It's so important and it matters. Your voice matters so much. That's why we're having this conversation about social media, is because people's voices matter. And don't be afraid to use it. I want to talk about specific platforms now. That's like the conversation of should you post on social media. Let's talk specifically about platforms. Should you speak out on all the platforms? Personally, I am not going to post my sassiest content on LinkedIn. I will post my sassiest content on Instagram. And I'm probably only going to post this live specifically on YouTube, unless I decide I'm going to be super sassy and show up on YouTube. But I'm not going to show up with extremely like opinion pieces on LinkedIn. I'm going to share value and use the lens of, we have people tuning in and saying, what's up? Hey, we want to show up and share value on LinkedIn. So if you can add commentary, that should be added on LinkedIn. Love it. But your sassy, opinionated comments or content, keep it to Instagram or YouTube. Or on your podcast, absolutely. Share your opinion. That's a little bit of platform specific. TikTok, probably you can, but I definitely know that there has been a lot of censorship on TikTok lately, so it may or may not get shared. Another question is, should you sell during this time? And this is a question that came up in my own mind, and I had to do some processing with my own coach. And I think that it's very much a case-by-case evaluation. Whenever we're in a politically charged climate, whenever we are in a situation where there's like global or nationwide big things happening like this, and it feels weird to sell on social because there's a bigger conversation happening. It's a case-by-case evaluation. So for example, tomorrow during the nationwide strike, I would take a break from selling tomorrow. However, and even during the Black Lives Matter movement in 2020, there was I think it was like a 5-day period. I don't remember the exact number of days, but there was a period of time when every online entrepreneur was really using their platform to elevate POC business owners. And that was a very important time to not be selling. So it's a case-by-case evaluation. However, it doesn't mean that you should completely stop selling or completely stop offering your services, your offers to people, because your people still need your offers, even though there is this situation happening in the global collective community. Okay? It's just important for you to be aware so you're not culturally tone deaf. For example, do not ever use the current event to sell more of your offers. Don't take images from things that have happened and use that to then pitch your offer. That's awful. Do not do it. It's slimy, it's gross, it's highly unethical. You want to keep with your regular messaging, continue to show up for your people and speaking to their exact pain points that they are experiencing and that you help solve, okay? Because the world does need your offers, even during politically charged times. So it is okay to keep selling, but continue to call your senators, lead by example, fight the patriarchy and fascism, and also sell your offers. You are a business owner and you are also a human existing in this moment in time. And current events do affect you. And they also affect your ideal customers. They want to see you taking action, to see you commenting on things and speaking up by leveraging your own unique strengths. And it's going to look different for everyone. It looks different for me. It's going to look different for you. It might look different for your best friend. You might be silent. You also might speak up. It looks different for everyone, but the world needs your voice right now. And however it looks is okay. All right? As big or as small as you can be. Maybe it's quiet, maybe it's loud, maybe it's highly public, maybe it's simply behind closed doors. So lead the way and navigate with grace. Make sure you're taking care of yourself because you cannot pour from an empty cup. And send your friends the funny memes. Like, don't stop bringing joy in your life, even especially during times when there's so many big negative emotions floating around. Send your friends the funny memes. Keep posting funny memes to help bring joy to people and show up in whatever capacity you can for collective society. All right. That is the end of like my pre-planned chat. I'd love to answer some questions, and I did have some that came in. On LinkedIn and YouTube, I am streaming using something called Ecamm, so I got to find where the chat is and chat on Insta. Thank you all so much for joining. I appreciate you. So the one question that I had that came in before this live, I posted on my Instagram stories like, hey, do you have questions? I'm going to be going live on this topic. And one person commented, how can you experience rage and also be peaceful? This is a great question. You need to have some emotional, like, nervous system regulation tools. You need to have a space where you can go experience that rage safely and offline. And then, like I said earlier in the conversation, process your emotions behind, not necessarily even behind closed doors. It can be with friends. It can be out while walking. It can be doing a hard workout and getting your brain in a place where it can actually process strategically. Because when we have this emotional clamor in our brains, like rattling around, right? It makes it a lot harder to make a strategic and useful decision. So you have to process that rage, that emotion, in a way that feels safe and good for you. So me personally, I love processing things with my husband. I love to journal. I have a therapist. Like, there are avenues that I can take to process this rage. And then I can figure out, okay, what is a useful way for me to put this rage into action? So you have to process it before you do anything. And that will give you a sense of peace. So process the emotion and turn it into action. Even if the action is, I'm going to take my kids to go experience something fun today. It doesn't have to be political action on social media. It can be, I'm going to show up as my best self in my life because that is what my family needs today. And that is what is going to bring me peace. So I hope that that's useful for you. I hope this conversation has been useful for you. Interesting comment coming in from YouTube. I am only going to field questions that are useful to this conversation. But thank you so much for sticking with me here today. And if you have any questions, please drop them in the comments below. I will answer them on a future live. And please speak up. The world needs your voice. The world needs your opinions. And also, your business is so valid to continue to run right now. My heart is with you. Lead from your heart and also from strategic business decision-making place. Thank you, friends.